Every January, millions set goals. By March, most of them are forgotten. Between vision and victory lies one is invisible factor, that's mindset. In our today's podcast, let's hear from Karthik on decoding on how physiology of performance, how neural patterns, how language and self-belief design results more effectively than any planner or KPI. Strategy builds direction, mindset builds momentum. Welcome to our Power of Knowing Forums weekly podcast series, episode 303 today, live on LinkedIn. We have the honor of having Karthik R, India's leading success strategist, physiologist, NLP coach, hypnotherapist. Let's welcome our esteemed speaker onto our podcast event and dive into the topic. Hi, Karthik.
Yeah, thank you,
Welcome to our
Prince.
podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for the lovely introduction. Thanks a lot.
Welcome, Karthik. Karthik, a small intro about yourself for the audience to know your journey and the work that you've been doing. I've just introduced you on a plain
Okay.
state there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Over to
I
you, please.
started my career as a software engineer. So this is something that a lot of people
Oh.
don't know. I was a software engineer from 2005, and I worked in the IT industry for a while. And that's when I just found that my passion was more into training and coaching, and I wanted to help people.
Hmm.
So people transformation was at the core of whatever I was trying to do. So after
Okay.
that, I just quit my IT job. That was, I would say, one of the boldest decisions that I took ever in my life. When IT was booming, I just went into the training industry, and since then the journey has been on and on. And I stumbled upon this beautiful science of NLP, neuro linguistic programming, when I was in the training industry. And since then, in the last decade, I've been researching more into NLP, and I also became a psychologist. I finished my degree in psychology. I finished a lot of certifications in NLP, hypnotherapy, inner child healing, transaction analysis, life coaching. So as of now, I am a NLP and hypnosis master trainer and a mentor life coach. So I do programs on NLP, hypnosis, and life coaching. And I run a company called this NLP Academy. So we do everything related to the mind, transaction analysis, emotional intelligence, life coaching, hypnosis, and NLP, of course. And I also do one-on-one coaching. I help people reach from their dream. We make a goal and we make it reality. So that's what the whole thing, if I can summarize about what I do in a small shell.
Amazing. And I think we need a lot of people who can make people achieve their roles, and definitions there that they want to become in life. Thank you for being here, Karthik.
Thank
Let's
you.
dive into the topic, what we want to discuss today.
Mhm.
What actually breaks between goal and results, Karthik?
Yeah. So one of the things that you started with is that a lot of people set their goals in the month of January. So January is one time where a lot of people set their goals. The gyms are filled. People start their dieting. People start working on their finances, their career goal, and everything. And by March is too much of a time, I would say. By February or even January 15th, most people actually lose track of their goals. So there are a lot of things that comes in whenever you just think about a dream to goal. So the way the goals are set up, see, first thing is that a lot of people don't reach their goals because the simple reason they don't have a goal. They have a dream.
Hmm.
Everyone aspires to become rich. Everyone wants to become healthy. Everyone wants to become wealthy. But what is wealth? What is health? Is something that most people are not able to understand. So first thing is that you need to have clarity in terms of your goal. And a lot of people, I feel very humiliated when some people call me as a motivational trainer. So I say that if anything, please call me a demotivational trainer. I'm okay with that. But because why I'm saying this is because whenever you're walking towards a goal or whenever you're walking towards achieving anything in your life, motivation is not the first thing that you need. You need clarity. Clarity can breed motivation, but motivation can never breed clarity. So it's never the other way around. So you need to have clarity about what you want exactly. Being specific is something that's very, very important. And how you set your goal is something very important. We do an activity whenever I work with someone, or even in our workshops, we do an activity called as well-formed outcome. And we discuss about how is that specifically you can break your goals or state your goals in a way that your unconscious mind will be more motivated to achieve it. So we work on both the conscious and the unconscious mind, more with the unconscious mind, as to how to make it more exciting. See, your dreams or goals are something that has to be very attractive for you to walk and pursue it. Let's say that you go for a buffet and you have your favorite food, so you don't have to make effort to move towards it, it automatically happens, right? So the same way, how you frame your goals as a very attractive one will make your journey effortless or will make a lot of resistance to it. So how you do that is a whole lot of things. I hope we'll discuss it in the other sections that we are going to go to.
No, I think what you're saying is very important because January is coming. Everybody wants to run and put a goal to it and see that they run it for at least some time, and then no. Most of the thing that happens is we need to have ourselves discipline to get well. We set goals, right? Now, how or when does discipline lose to doubt is what I want to understand, because people will be disciplined for that period. After that, they are not.
So there is something called as gym donors. I'm not sure if are you aware of this term, gym donors?
Okay.
Okay.
No,
So
no, I
gym
have not.
donors are people who will register at the beginning of. So if you go to any gym, any big
Hmm.
gym or small gym for that reason, you just go to there any gym in the beginning of the year, January first week. You will see the whole gym will be crowded. So there are
Hmm.
gyms which actually overbook. Let's say the gym's capacity is to handle about 10 clients at a point of time or 20 clients at a point of time. They would register some 25 to 30 people, and the whole gym will be crowded. After a point of time, after the first week, second week, slowly the motivation goes down, and from the second week, gym people, whoever has people who had started, they know that these people will come down in terms of numbers, and they will reach less than 10 people for a session or so. Now, why this happens is because when you start your goal, you're very enthusiastic. Let's say because we took the example of gym or diet or financial planning or career, whatsoever it is. See, anything when you start, you will be super enthusiastic because it is still in the dream phase. Okay, you have ideated something. It seems very glamorous. It seems very attractive. And when you start working towards it, that is when you understand that you have to put some effort into it. Now, ideation is free of cost. Execution is costly. And when people
Costly.
have to
Yes.
pay the price for reaching their goal, that is when they start to rethink, or they're unconsciously, they just hold themselves back. If there is one thing that your unconscious wants you is safety. And when you walk towards your goal, it is not a safe space to be in, right? So it is a lot of things. If you are going to a gym, you do something beyond whatever you have already been doing. If you are planning doing going to do a financial planning, then you have to save or invest beyond whatever you have already done. So that takes a lot of effort, and when that comes, we usually hold ourselves back. We get into the preservation mode, and that kicks in until and unless you are willing to put in that kind of discipline. Now, there's a lot of work that can be done for us to be disciplined effortlessly, but still, until and unless you do that consciously or unconsciously. Now, a lot of people think, okay, is every when you look at successful people, are every successful people following NLP? Not necessary, but what they are doing has elements of NLP in it. NLP itself is a discovered science. That is, they looked at people who are already successful and saw how is that they are getting the success, try to replicate it. So it's not an invented science, I would say. It's a discovered model. They just try to model people who are already successful and try to model it from that. So you need to understand what is that part of your mind that you have to work on. What is that hurdle that you will have to overcome? For example, if I have a past negative experience about something, let's say that I tried working out at some point of time, I tried investing at some point of time, and I lost a lot of money, then me trying to invest again will be a very big hurdle until and unless I clear out that baggage. There's a past memory associated to it, or there is a negative belief associated to it, limiting decision associated to it. Until and unless I work on all of these things and clear myself, usually it will be difficult for me to go forward. So that is the I think the long discussion for it. But there are a lot of small things that you can do. One, as I already told, you should be having your goal statement extremely clear. What is that I want specifically, and what is the action plan that I'm going to put towards it, and how long am I planning to put that action plan towards it? What is the breaks that I'm going to take so that I replenish myself and come back? So you cannot think that I will start every day and I will do it every day. You will have to have some breaks also. It can be financial planning, it can be career planning, it can be fitness planning, whatsoever it is. You should be having all of these strategies in place, and then after a point of time, once you practice it for enough amount of time, let's say if you're, there are a lot of people who say 28 days, 21 days, 41 days, 45 days, whatever works for you. Once you have done it for considerable amount of time, then you, that becomes a second habit to you. So the basic idea is you need to create a habit. If you look at any successful person, a successful person is nothing but a bunch of successful habits, and so is an unsuccessful person, isn't it? Unsuccessful person is a person with a set of unsuccessful habits. So now how we form these habits, what are the strategies that we are going to do towards it, is something that matters a lot.
Amazing. Now, when we talk about mindset part, we said discipline is again. You said habits. Habits also become mindset and stuff like that, right? Now,
Mhm.
can mindset be also measured like how we measure productivity?
You can actually. So when you see the mindset of people, so one major thing that I start with people is that there is something basically called as the winner's mindset and something called as a loser's mindset. Let me just give you a small example. Someone says that I need to come out of my debt of 25 lakhs that I've accumulated, or I need to lose 25 kilos of fat that I've accumulated in my body. All of these seems to be very positive, productive goals. But unfortunately, these are statements which will hold you back. So what happens is that we get into something called as a loser's mindset whenever we think about losing something. I want to lose my debt, or I want to lose weight. So that's something that your unconscious will not process well. So the language that you use usually can be a measure of your mindset. One thing. So what is that you can do, just to give you an idea about, now I've told about the problem that a lot of people fix their goal in a negative mindset. How is that? What is that you can do? You can see how is that I'm going to make this positive. For example, someone who has a debt of 25 lakh can say that I'm going to earn 30 lakhs, or someone who says that I want to lose 25 kilos. For that reason, if you know this, losing weight was not a concept until the previous generation itself. Previous generation, or just two generations back, it was never a concept. If someone was healthy, or when someone was wealthy, or someone is bulky, they used to be seen as people who are wealthy and healthy. Yeah, in if you go to, I've seen this statue of a farmer in a lot of places in Karnataka at the rooftop, and there is a farmer without, with a dhoti and with a hand full of grain, with a pot belly, right?
Hmm.
And laughing Buddha is also with pot belly. So I'm not saying it is healthy. Let me be very clear. But that is how it was perceived as. It is a very healthy thing because people were in famine and a lot of things. So when a person is accumulated enough fat, it's good. So losing something is not written, imprinted in your unconscious mind. So you will have to think that how is that I make that better. Now, instead of saying someone who is 100 kilos says that I want to lose 25 kilos, he or she can always say that I want to become 75. So when you say I want to become 75, it is something that you're walking towards. When you say I want to lose 25 kilos, that is something that you're walking away from. So
Okay.
language can be a very good measure of your mindset, how your mindset is. So whenever we work with clients, or whenever I just talk to people, always the way they talk, the way they tell things is something that is a very good measure of their mindset. And that is something that that can, your attitude in terms of your language will decide your altitude in terms of life.
Great pointers. I think people have to look at saying that I'll gain something rather than lose something, right, Karthik? Is that what we are
Yeah.
saying in terms of, right? Okay, got it. Now, how can, let's shift some gears on to the tech side,
Uh-huh.
because we see a lot of things that are there. How can AI age tools amplify human psychology?
Come again with the question. How can?
How can AI age tools amplify human psychology?
See, in terms of AI, nowadays AI is slowly taking over. Now, one of the things that people are confused about is, can I take the suggestion clearly or not? But there are a lot of AI tools or productivity tools, tracking tools, which can actually help us in terms of building habits or anything. I've known a couple of people who use that extensively, although I mostly use my pen and paper and work on things. But if you have to track a habit, or if you have to build a particular consistent discipline, in that case, all these tools can be useful. There are a lot of online tools, although I don't use it personally, where you can note yourself down and you can progress. So one of the things that I always tell my clients, and I always have observed with myself also, whatever you can track, you can always upscale. Now, if I know that how much steps I'm taking in a day, or how much money I'm saving in a day, how much productive I am in a particular day, a lot of time what happens is we overestimate how much we can do in a single day, and we underestimate how much we can do in a year. So we think that, okay, in a day, I will read half a book, which may not be possible. Even if I read 10 pages of a book every day, in a year, I may be able to finish 10 books, which is a phenomenal thing considering majority of the people. So to do all these tracking, you have a lot of tools. Those things can be integrated in terms of your success journey whenever you're going towards it.
Now, you made another point, trackers, right? These
Mhm.
trackers, uh, do they really help? Because digital trackers help or hinder some of the self-awareness pointers, which you pointed up a question back, but how is that we see this digital trackers helping or hindering?
Digital track is helping in.
Or hindering the self-awareness?
See, digital trackers in terms of, let us say, something as simple as your financial tracker. So you have a financial tracker, and
Hmm.
let's say you set a financial goal that you need to save 1 crore by the end of the year, or you need to save 10 crore by the end of the whatever money that you fix for yourself. Now, that seems very exciting, but the problem is, if you have to have 1 crore at the end of the year, you should be having at least 10 lakhs or 8 lakhs every month. And if you're just leaving it like that, and you think that, okay, one day you will reach it, or at the end of the year you will reach it, at the end of the year you will be depressed, irritated, frustrated with yourself. Instead of that, all of these trackers can give you an idea about where is that you are. At least you will have an idea if you will be able to reach it, or you will have to put more effort towards it, or you are going to drop that goal and just give it some more time. So that is something that's very much useful. The same thing in terms of your fitness also. What is the amount of calories you take in a day? So if you are not tracking all of these things, I'm not saying it is absolutely necessary for everyone to do it, but if you're serious about your goal, that is something that you need to be focused on. Digital media and everything is an amazing boon for people, but a lot of times we use it as a distraction. That is one thing that we humans are super capable of using anything that is productive to use against ourselves. But these things can be used very productively to reach your goal, whatsoever it is. So I basically have two trackers that I usually track. One is a financial tracker, and another is the fitness tracker. With my fitness watch, I just track things, and I also track my calories a little bit. So those are the two things that I use, and it's extremely productive, I would say. And as I always say, and as I've always told a lot of my clients, what you can track, you can always upscale or you can downscale. But what you can't track, what you just leave it as such, abstract, you can never do anything with it.
You're saying that smart tools need smart minds as well, right? So to have that done, right, Karthik?
Yeah. So smart is very important. So one of the things that when I work with anyone, we work on goals, but we work on something called as a smarter goal. So a small
Hmm.
conflict is there between smart goal and smarter goal. So what is a smarter goal? Nothing but in smart goal you have specific, SM, measurable, attainable, realistic, right, and time
Yeah.
bound. Now, attainable
Yeah.
and realistic is something that if you just think about it, 300 years back, bending iron over continents or countries and connecting countries was unrealistic. 200 years
Yeah.
back, flying from one country to another country was unrealistic. Just 50 years back, talking to someone face to face in the US from India was unrealistic. Now, today, all
Yes.
of those things are realistic because someone
Hmm.
thought about the unthinkable unrealistically. That's why things have happened. So, realistic, when you say realistic, when people stick to these words realistic and attainable, the question is according to whom is it realistic and attainable? So, we just go a little bit beyond it. But yes, we need smart tools for smart goals.
Thank you for that, Karthik, for saying that. Now, why do we set goals from logic, not from an identity?
We set goals from logic exactly because how I told, we think about realistic and attainable and not from the
Hmm.
identity part. But identity is one of the key things to be identified and understood. If you don't understand that and if you don't work on that, if your identity is not supporting your goal, you reaching your goal, you can set your goal, but reaching your goal is becomes very, very difficult. Okay. For example, just let me just give you this is a very big concept that we talk about, or when we work with clients also we work on. We usually work in hierarchies. So this is, we call it neurological level. So we have an
Mm.
environment. In that environment, we have a specific behavior. That behavior is supported because of certain skills and capabilities that we have. That skills and capability is something that is backed up by the belief and value that we hold in ourselves, and the identity that we hold holds the beliefs and values, that holds the skills and capabilities that makes us exhibit a behavior in a particular environment. Okay. Now, this is a hierarchy. Like you have Maslow's hierarchy, right? So this is another
Mm.
one hierarchy that you can talk about. So if things on the top level are not right, you cannot work on the ground level. For
Don't
example,
worry.
let's say that someone brings a dog to your home, a small dog. Your friend or family member brings it. The dog runs here and there and does something at some part of your house, and let's say that it goes for potty at some point of your house, and you get irritated. The person also gets irritated. The immediate change the person would do is they would tie the dog outside, right, in some place where
Mm.
it's not disturbing. So I told there's an environment, then there is a behavior, then there is a skills and capabilities, then there is belief and value, and then there is identity. There's purpose above
Mm.
it, but let us stick on to these things. Now, here, the behavior of the dog is an issue, right? So because behavior is an issue, you go a level below for immediate change and you tie the dog outside somewhere. This is a permanent. This is this a permanent solution? This is not.
No.
Next time, if your friend has to take the dog to some other place and still want the dog to behave in the best possible way, the person should not be looking at changing the environment. They should go a level above and work on the skills and capabilities of the dog. They should hire a trainer so that they give the dog specific instructions. They improve its skill set so that it listens to that person, and it does whatever has to be done wherever it has to be done, and it stays calm, right? So the same thing in terms of human beings, this hierarchy goes up till the identity. And if your identity is something that is not supporting your goal, no matter how much you try, with any logic that you put in, any emotion that you put in, you're not going to reach your goal, because the identity has to be aligned. So the alignment has to be there in all the levels. But if the identity is totally out of range, or it's something that is not at all supporting, let's say that I have an identity that I am a government employee. I'm built for government, being a government employee. No matter how much I try, I will never be able to become an entrepreneur, or I'll never
Mm.
be able to even become a corporate, climb up the corporate ladder. So I'll be very stagnant, and I think that okay, I'm a very timid person. So the identity that I hold in myself is something that's very important. That is the first thing to be worked on before the logics even. So if that's what I told at the beginning itself, clarity is very important, and clarity about the identity is the most important thing. And if it is not supporting, things will not work. So we'll have to work on that more than anything else.
Great, Karthik. I am getting a lot of insights where I have to implement myself many of the pointers that you are saying. Now, coming to the NLP part, how does NLP rewire self concept?
So again, self-concept is also something that deals with the identity, how you look at yourself. See,
Yeah.
a lot of people just try all kind of shortcuts. Nothing wrong about it. But let's say that someone is going towards law of attraction affirmations or something. It is something that works. I'm not saying it does not work, but there are a lot of things that has to be worked before that. Let's say I
Mm.
have a belief problem. I don't believe in myself. I don't believe that I am made for this, or I don't believe that entrepreneurial journey is something that I can pursue, or I don't believe that I can become the CEO of a company. So that belief has to be worked on more than anything else, right? So the self concept is about how you see yourself, and how is that you have aligned yourself. What is an identity level that you see yourself as capable of? A lot of people, whenever I've worked with people, until and unless they change the self concept that they have about themselves, whatever changes they make to themselves will be very momentary or very temporary. So you working on the self concept is something that's very important, so that the person achieves the success that they have to achieve, and try to hold on it to for a longer duration. Again, that comes to the identity change work that you're working with. So whenever you are working towards a goal, you understanding that what is that you have to overcome. Is it a past negative experience that I have to overcome? Is it a belief problem that I have to overcome? Is it a behavior issue that I have to overcome? Or is it a habit issue that I have to overcome? Or is it an alignment issue with myself? All of these things that I told, the environment, the behavior, the skills and capabilities, the beliefs and values, the identity. Is there any issue in the alignment of all of these things? Where is that I need to work on? So you need to understand all of this so that your self concept is something that will be sorted out. Again, that's a very deep work. I just try to summarize it as much as possible. I know that itself is a long answer, but that is, self concept is something that we need to understand properly on an identity level so that we become better people to perceive a goal.
Thanks for that, Karthik. And what is the psychology equivalent of malware?
Of
Malware.
Okay, malware of the mind you're saying about, or malware of
Yes.
the mobile?
I had a thought. How do we look at whether, because we are setting about goals? I think it is more about person, right? How think mindset.
So you're in terms of mind, you have a lot of malware. One of this is negative talks for that reason, negative
Yes.
self talks, negative beliefs, and limiting,
Limiting beliefs.
decisions that you have, or the value misalignment that you have, and a lot of things. But let me just give you a small example of one of the malware. So just as you have malwares in your mobile, which will slow down your mobile, which will heat things up, these malwares can take you towards anxiety, can take you towards depression, can take you towards inactive nature that people don't like. People call procrastination. So all of these things has to be overcome. One of the things that I found with a lot of people that has been a biggest hindrance is negative self-talk. So there are a lot of ways of working with this. The same as you use an antivirus software for your laptop or for your mobile, the same way you also have to weed your mind, just see at any point of time if there is any weed that has been there. So you will have to do some mental flossing, so that you just remove all of these things now and then. If there is a negative self-talk, there is a very small powerful technique that you can use for yourself. It works on a very basic concept of the mind and is extremely powerful. The only thing is you will have to be aware for 24 hours. Let's say that you have a negative self-talk. Now what is a negative self-talk? Something say that I'm a loser, I'm someone, I'm not an achiever, or I'm an idiot, whatever it is. Let's say that you have this negative self-talk running in you. Just take this is just one of the techniques for one of the issues I'm telling, so that you can try it. Just use a rubber band. This is called as a rubber band technique. Tie a rubber band
Mm.
around your wrist. Okay, so whenever you have any of this negative self-talk that comes, as I told, awareness is the key here. 124 hours you will have to be aware. Whenever it comes, pull the rubber band as much as you can in the inner side of your wrist and release it. Okay, just try to do it. Usually it goes away in the first 3 times. If you're able to identify, the identification part is very important. Usually it just goes away. You will never be able to think about that thing again. So you need to, it's the same as you use antivirus. Your awareness is the antivirus, or your awareness is the scanning part, and antivirus or removing this part is something that you will have to work on. For negative self-talk, this is something that works. Now if there is a negative habit, as I told,
Mm.
you will have to look at your mind. I'll just do this small exercise. Just take a piece of paper and try writing all the habits that is stopping your success. Let's say I am thinking ideating, but I'm not working on it. Or do you know this? This is one thing that people say: the
Mm.
faster you move from ideation to execution, the faster your success will be. So, am I procrastinating? Or am I having some habit that is not preventing me from talking to people, and I'm not making good network, and that's why I'm not able to reach my success? Or what
Mm.
exactly am I doing? What are the habits that is stopping me? So just note all the habits, and then think about the habits that you can replace them with. So if you change all the habits that is hindering your success, automatically your success will happen. So the malwares can be your negative habits, your negative self-talk, negative beliefs, and all of these things. So your awareness is the scan that you have to do often, now and again, so that slowly, steadily, one by one, you remove all of these things and move towards your success. And your
Mm.
malwares of your mind is more dangerous than the malwares in your mobile. At least that just works on the data there. Here, as I told, most people who go into depression, stress, anxiety, and any kind of psychological disorder, they would have started it very small and slowly they just
Yeah.
graduate over there. So be aware, spend some time for yourself on a daily basis, 10-15 minutes, and work on yourself. That's very important.
I think what you said is very, very true, because uh, most of the time we don't understand what we are doing and we keep doing. Now, coming to our point, how do limiting beliefs corrupt high performance teams?
You're asking about teams?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm asking about teams. Yes.
Okay. See, limiting decisions or limiting beliefs is something that actually corrupts everyone, particularly when it goes into a mass dynamic as in a group, and you have someone who just spreads these ideas and other people buy it. It is something that plagues a company big time. That's why companies usually have mission and vision, and they constantly work towards successful companies, constantly work towards making them as a real thing that they implement on a regular basis. Now, let's say that someone makes a vision statement which is never implemented, which they don't. They say that okay, the employees come first or customers come first, whatsoever it is. If it is just in the statement, and if it is not implemented, slowly it will not be that great. So saying that whenever there is a limiting belief that actually runs in the team, that is when you just hire someone, some professional for corporate training or something. So it's for the leadership team to identify if there is a limiting belief over there, so that you just take it out. Why? Because when it is a group dynamics, if it is not broken down, at the end of the day, a company is nothing but a set of people who are just working in the company. Without that, a company is nothing. So you need to be extremely careful. It can plague any new employee that you hire. I've personally known certain companies which actually try to hire new teams so that they'll be groomed differently. But until and
Hmm.
unless the weeding is not done of the existing team, that will anyway come here in the to the people who are new, and it will always continue. So that's a major limiting factor with the growth of a company. The leadership team has to be extremely careful about it to weed it.
And I think what you're saying is so true when it comes to teams, right? So if you have one team member telling something and the senior is a leader, then teams will follow that, and when they get the team, they'll pull it down as well, saying that this is what I've been learning in this organization. This is what you should be careful, and that limiting is always set when you bring it down to the leadership, right? I get that. How does the language hardcode behavior?
So the middle name of neuro-linguistic programming is linguistics, which is language, right? See, the
Okay.
whole of NLP is about, when you say neuro-linguistic programming, neuro stands for the mind, linguistic
Mhm.
stands for the language, and programming is how you can program your mind using your language. Now, this, as I already told, your mindset, how your mindset is, it can be understood by the language that you use. Now, your body
Mm.
language or your language, both are language. So we don't use have a difference between. In fact, your non-verbal language will tell you more about yourself than your verbal language. But saying that, there are certain things that you need to notice whenever you are just communicating to people or when you are talking to yourself. Now, when we say talk about language, we think about communicating to someone else. When we think about communication, also we think about communicating to someone else. But do you know, we talk to ourselves 3 times faster than what we talk to others, and we talk to ourselves on an average 3 times more than what we talk to others, which means we communicate to ourselves 9 times more than what we communicate to others. So if you have some negative connotation or negative terms in your language, it can affect you more than anyone else. For example, there's something called as an identity level statement. I can say that okay, I'm not that effective at doing it, or I can say that I'm an ineffective person. I can say that I tend to procrastinate things, or I can say that I'm a procrastinator. Now, you may think that both of these things are the same thing, but they're two entirely different things. When you say that you are a procrastinator, you will have hard time moving out from that identity than when you say that that is something that you do. So when you say that that is something I do, that is something you're placing outside in terms of your experience. When you say that you are that, that is something that becomes you. So you moving out of it becomes way more difficult, right? So I still remember this. Once I was just having a small conversation with my son, and he was just trying to write something, and he was a little bit slow. I told, just why don't you try writing fast? He told, I'm a slow writer. I asked him, who told you that? He told, my teachers say, mom says, and it's known to everyone. I told, how can that be true? You write slow, that is there. I don't disagree to that.
Yeah.
But you being a slow writer, when children or we get into this mindset, that's where language is very important. We think that it is just a small language, but we do a lot of experiments for this in our programs, where we tell people to tell things that I am this. Am is a statement that goes on an identity level. and say that I do this, it creates a
Hmm.
very deep, subtle, and deep change in your unconscious in terms of your how you feel and emotionally connect to it. So the language that you use is very important. As I told in the beginning itself, the way you set your goals, the way you talk to yourself, the talks that you talk to yourself, or the statements that you make in terms of it can be an identity statement or a work related statement, verbal statement. So how you do frame all of these things matters a lot. So language is extremely, extremely important in terms of programming your mind, unconscious mind. Also, language can be a representation of how your things are stored in your unconscious, right? So when you work on it and when you change it, there is a lot of time there is paramount change just by changing the language of how you use it. So when someone moves from saying that I am a procrastinator to saying that I tend to procrastinate, there is a huge difference. The same even in terms of physiological ailments, someone says that I have diabetes or someone says I am diabetic are two different things,
Okay.
right? So linguistic
Got it,
plays a major
Karthik.
part.
So, what you talk to say be positive is more effective than saying something negative. Am I right in saying that, Karthik?
Yeah, see, again, here we usually work on productivity than positivity, but in terms of language, you can think about something that that should be more productive for yourself. Now, than
Okay.
positivity, you can think about productivity. So when someone thinks that I have to be a action taker, and then you call yourself a procrastinator, it's never that you're going to move out of that. So you need to think about, am I being productive in terms of my language or not, than thinking positive and negative, because this may not be a popular opinion, but a lot of time what we call as negative emotion actually motivate us more than positive emotions. The part of
Okay.
our brain that senses pain is much bigger than the part of our brain that senses pleasure. That is why if you notice, a lot of people, they'll be motivated by pain more than pleasure.
Hmm.
For example, there's a famous statement of Shah Rukh Khan, one of my favorite persons in terms of even public speaking. He said that I never wanted to be rich, but I knew the pain of being poor, and I never wanted to be poor. That's why I became rich.
Now, there was one statement which I recall where he's saying, "I didn't want to be having a luxury car," statement, and he said, "If I am broke, I'll be broke in my luxury car rather than sitting on the road and crying." So I don't know whether it relates, but I I I heard that many times, because if I am broke, also I want to be broke at a stage where I enjoy that broking stage as well. So that's where I think your point is directing to. Can leaders use linguistic precision to influence culture?
Yeah. See, at the end of the day, leadership is nothing but a set of a person who has a set of idea that can lead people towards success, them towards a common goal. So yes, leaders can use it a lot. Again, you becoming a better person is the ultimate idea here. So when you become a better person, automatically you will be a better strategist, you will be a better leader, and you will be able to move forward. So yes, they can use it a lot. So we have something we call as, see, in terms of success strategies, or when people move towards success, we have a normal model of human existence or human work, which is called a
Mhm.
stimulus response. So
Okay.
my employees did this, so I felt like this and I reacted like this. That is stimulus response. If you remember about the
Mhm.
Pavlov's dog experiment, when the dog
Yeah.
salivated, that's
Yeah.
about stimulus response. But that's not a success model, to be precise. That is something that normally naturally happens with anyone and everyone. Now, when you talk about a leader is someone who takes constant conscious decisions and tries to implement it for the welfare of the community or for the company or whatsoever it is. So there is a model called as TOTE: test, operate, test, exit. I just test if my existing model, whatever I am doing, I am communicating to my team members in a certain way. Now I just try to test if it is working. If it is working, it is well and good. Or I try to operate something new. I try to communicate to them in a different way and I see if that works. And then I test it again. If it was working, I do a new operation
Mhm.
of changing my communication and I see if it works. If it works, well and good, then I do an exit, let it be permanent. Or I am remunerating my employees in a certain way, which is not working. So let me test if it is working, not working. let me remunerate them in a different way, award them or reward them in a different way, and let me see if that works. That works, then you create a system out of it. So for a leader, constantly doing this is something that's very important, and understanding people is very important. So NLP has a lot of tools to understand people. NLP has a lot of tools to build rapport with people, to be an effective communicator, to build your beliefs and values so that you become a better leader, and also in terms of identity work, how you can build yourself as a better leader. So all of these things can be extremely useful in terms of becoming a better leader to lead a community, a country, or a company, whatsoever it is.
Great points there, Karthik. Again, can mindset be part of the KPIs?
Can be, but how they are going to implement it is a tricky thing. Because we humans work with a lot of biases, right? So I mean,
Right, right.
if someone has my own mindset, we just think that okay, that is a very productive mindset. Now
Mhm.
we may never know if our mindset itself is productive or not. If you can implement some kind of an AI tool for this, it will be better. That's where there is a lot of psychometric assessments which are there, which can be useful in terms of understanding it, and it can be made as a part of KPI. There is a large chance of that to be biased also, as with anything in the KPI system, if you ask me. So it's okay, but it can be, and I would say in a way it should be part of, and by and large, in a lot of companies, it is part of the leadership team. They just think about that in a different way. I remember when I was working in one of these companies where I worked as a training manager. One of my bosses was taking a psychometric test, so he just took me to. This was an online test, so I'm not mentioning the name of the company or the person, so it's fine. Where I had to help him understand how is that you can do the psychometric test. So a lot of that is about the mindset, and about the fastness of how you do, and about the mindset that you have.
Now, how do we prove ROI of resilience or optimism? Is that a pointer that we can look
How
at?
do we?
Prove ROI, return on investment of resilience or optimism. Right?
See, resilience or optimism and comparing it to ROI can be a long process to implement and trying to understand. But by
Mm.
inference, we can understand a lot of things. See, if you just want everything to be experimental and then you will understand from it, let me give you a small example here. Do you know when people say smoking is injurious to health, smoking causes cancer? You would have heard this statement a lot, right?
Yeah, right.
Do you know
Yes.
it is not scientifically proved?
I completely, from my knowledge, I agree for what you are saying because my grandmother or anybody they had that this one and they used to eat it regularly, but they never had that. Now
See,
I don't know how much of a cigarette that has. I don't know, but this is my view.
See, I'm not saying that smoking is good, but that is
Mm.
not scientifically proven. When I say scientifically proven, if you have to do it, it is ethically impossible and practically also impossible. For example, you have to just isolate a kid in a clean place without any contamination, raise the kid to a certain level where the kid can smoke, and this is not one kid, okay? You'll have to have a group of kids, make them smoke, and try to understand that. So this is not ethical, right? At the first
Mm.
point. And again, it is not practically possible. How long can you do this? But we learned
Mm.
it by inference. So there are a lot of doctors who found a correlation between people who are smoking and who got cancer. And then they inferred that when there were a lot of people, the common thing about the cases where that they were smoking. So we learn a lot of things by inference than by experimentation. So, by inference, you can understand that a person who is resilient reaches far more success and is far more consistent in anything in life, and psychologically is far more stronger. So, has there been experiments done? Can it be linked to some kind of a rating system? That is something that has to be explored, no question on that. But do we have to wait till that? Not necessary. We can know by inference. Look at any leader, they are resilient. You can take Mahendra Singh Dhoni, or you can take any political party leader who has been reasonably successful for a duration of time, 20, 15, 20 years of time, whomsoever it is, whatever party it is. Political leaders, country leaders, Lee Hwan Yu, for example, just look at all of them. They will have one thing in common: is about the resilience and is about the mindset that they hold within themselves, right? So by inference, we can understand it. Do we have to have an experimental proof for it? Not necessary. There is no proof for smoking causes cancer, neither is there proof for sugar causes diabetes. But both of
Right.
these things we can understand by inference. We don't have to wait, okay, only then there is proof I will do it. That is not going to be productive, isn't it?
Yeah. Now, coming to again tech side, we've been talking most of the AI taking over pointers, and we've been seeing everywhere AI is taking away jobs, and we see a lot of news is coming in around that, right? Will machines ever mirror human motivation?
See, they are not it there. This may be again a very unpopular idea. They will be there soon. Let me be clear on that also. Um, there was a time when we were young, people used to resist machine gyms. Today,
Hmm.
whenever you say gym, there is a machine in it, right?
Yeah.
So it's irreplaceable, right? I'm not saying that is the ultimate solution for everything. You have ground exercise, you have calisthenics, you have a lot of other options, but that is the most popular option as of now. So there will come a time when those AI models of coaching will become a major thing, and then there will be coaches like us who will be coaching people individually also. That also will be working. So no matter how much gym comes, you have a gym trainer. There is personal training still happening. I do work out, and I don't have a personal trainer at the gym, but still I know a lot of people who prefer it, right? So to be frank, to be very fair, and to be having a distant vision, that is something that's going to happen. A machine is, as I told, a machine is very much more efficient in terms of catching your language errors. It is much more efficient in terms of taking the next logical step. There's a funny thing that happened with one of my friends. I think he lives in Canada, I guess. Okay, and he was just checking. No, he lives in US, Minnesota or somewhere where it is extremely cold. So he was checking the weather of our hometown, Nagarkoil, Kanyakumari district. He was just checking the weather. And after a point of
Okay.
time, after 2 or 3 days, Gemini voices him out saying that it seems you are missing your home. The tickets to your hometown is cheapest at this point of time. Would you like to book a ticket? So
Okay, so
those
he's given his data for the data mining to give him the options. Okay,
yeah. So
great.
those things can happen, but still
Right.
that is eventually going to happen. No matter how much you fight, that is going to happen. For coaches, a lot of coaches, that can seem threatening. There's nothing to be threatened about. If you are really good in terms of whatever you're doing, you will have a market, or else you will lose your market. I used to make fun of this, not against anything or anyone, but COVID gave rise to a lot of trainers. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry
Yeah.
suddenly became a trainer, a coach, a guru, or something online. Just watch, in the last 1 year, that population has come down drastically. People who are doing advertisement, I personally know people who are spending more than ₹1 million in advertisement every single month. Now where are they? Where is the business model? That's not there that much, right? So those things will happen. So just increase your competency, be open to yourself, be open to your clients, and I'm sure everyone will have a market. But yes, the good news for the common people is that it is not yet there, but that AI coaching model is something that can take over in the next few years. It's heading in that direction, I would say. That's where my point of view is. That's where I could see.
I was my next pointer was when you said coaching and stuff. Now, what happens when AI coaches start teaching NLP? Is that a possibility?
As I told, eventually that will happen. See,
Okay.
I still don't do recorded sessions. I always feel that the best way to learn something like neuro linguistic programming, we don't have any PPTs in any of our sessions, online, offline, whatsoever it is. I'm someone who was fascinated by the idea. I was a trainer when I went into NLP. And that was the first program where, for a 6 days program, there was a program happening
Hmm.
without any PPT. And one
Okay.
thing I realized, that PPTs were running in our head. They were creating images in our head. And that continued at least for the next 4 or 5 trainings that I went with different trainers. Somehow that NLP community had gotten into this idea that if you are an effective NLP trainer, you should be an experiential trainer. You should be
Hmm.
able to make an idea, an image, something in the person's head without the use of any props. So AI, when it comes to do that, it can do that. So one of the things where I was coming to, or what I was coming to say, is that I never went into this making a video and selling people online courses, although that was the most popular thing. When COVID started, a lot of people told me to do that. Just do an intro session, then do a recorded session. I felt that that's fooling people, because you have to make it a very experiential for people. So we run a concept. I explain a concept, then I take someone. Let's say that there is something for negative belief change. I explain what it is. I take someone and I show people how it is done, and then people go into breakout rooms. We do it in Zoom mostly, or we do it offline. When we do it offline, again, you have people who can practice with people. Then they practice with each other. Then they come with the question answers. So that is how we run the program. Okay. Can AI replicate it? As I told, not to this great extent, but it can do that. It can go there in a point of time. Again, if you're competent enough, and if you're confident enough on yourself, and if you're willing to upgrade yourself, you will do better than any AI. At the end of the day, you're the one who operates the AI. You can create a lot of AI tools, if you are in the right direction. That will eventually happen. There's no escaping that. I believe that is something that will eventually happen, and I'm okay with it. And you will have a market. I believe I will have a market even beyond that.
I'll take your point to what this whole podcast session which we are talking today turned out to be. Because when I started live podcast, many people said you cannot edit, you'll have videos going straight to the platforms, you'll have a sneeze, somebody's scratching his face. That does not look natural. I said, we are in an age of AI where I can create something and put some text there, but if it if I'm able to give my actual feel that I am doing while I'm talking to a person, I think that is makes more sense, and that's where we said no to recordings. We don't do recording sessions and air them at all. We are live on all the platforms. We keep that session live so that we have that felt saying that this is not a recorded session where they talk something and we get into the real talks like what we are doing now. We have questions, but we look at having the realistic talks that we talk what we are doing right now, the examples, the pointers that we want to look at, and that's how what we are doing this podcast for the last 303 episodes now. Now
Great.
coming to the next point that I want to look at, how does NLP transfer fear into fuel? Because when I again I'll take my example. When I started to do podcasting, I was not confident. I had somebody else bring me that confidence, and we started. Now, how does that we have NLP transforming that fear into fuel?
Okay. See, what we call as fear is in a way of, as I told you, if you just break down your unconscious, or if you have to just make a very basic segregation in your unconscious, there are only two things that your unconscious is focused on: pain and pleasure. Okay. That you can break down into million different things, but in a very basic, rudimentary way, pain and pleasure are the two things that will always motivate you, either to do things or not to do things. So you will be either motivated to do things or not motivated to do things. So now what we call as fear is in a way we trying to avoid the pain, right? So what you understand as pain is also something that's useful. So once you understand what is exactly the fear that you're facing, so as I already told, when you get more clarity on things, that can give you better motivation. Let's say, let me give you an example. So someone wants to become an entrepreneur, okay, but the person is scared. What if I quit my current job? Will I be able to survive? Will I be able to be successful? What will the society say? What will my co-employers who I was working with, will they laugh at me? As they say in Hindi, one thing that has killed a lot of dreams is log kya kahenge? What will people say? Right? And
True.
who are these people? These are people who are not with you, who are always either against you, or people who you never know. That is what it is. So when you get more clarity about the fear that you are dealing it at some point, at that point of time, okay, I want to become an entrepreneur. What is the fear I have? So I may not have enough money to survive. So let me get an understanding of how much money I need as a backup, how much time I will need to survive this. And when you get all those ideas, slowly that fear is something that will go away. So there is something in psychology, because being a psychologist and an NLP enthusiast, an NLP trainer also, I always say this one very important thing, this is one thing I learned over a period of time. There are only two fears that comes intrinsic to us. The fear of loud noises, the fear of falling.
Mm.
These are the two intrinsic fears that we have. Every other fear that we have had is something that we have learned over the period of time. Any fear. So what you have learned, you can always unlearn. Okay.
Mm.
So now you need to understand. That's why where I told clarity is very important in terms of coaching. That's where we just try to understand with a person. Let's say I'm working with an entrepreneur and the entrepreneur has this fear. I'll try to understand where is this fear coming from what point of time the fear has been into this person, and what is that we can do to address this. And if we address it, will this fear go? In that case, that is a solution for that person. No, that cannot be a generic model for everyone. The same thing cannot apply for everyone. So that's where one-on-one coaching always comes into play, right? So that's why I say AI models till now have not reached over there. They will be there at a point of time, no question. Still, human beings will have some humanic advantage over AI till a point of time. Let us see till when. So you understanding, getting a clarity about what that fear is and addressing that fears a lot of time can be useful. Sometimes it can be unreasonable, sometimes it can be societal, sometimes it can be a belief system blocking you, sometimes it is a
Mm.
past trauma that is blocking you. Last time I tried an entrepreneurial journey with a friend, I lost my job and I was also strained it for about 4 years. I was not able to go here or there. Then finally I got into a job. Now why will I quit a job? If that is there, then
Yeah.
that is because of a past memory. You need to understand where it is coming from, why it is coming from. When you get more clarity on that, you will be able to address it well. It is same as you go to a doctor. You may have a headache. When you say a headache, doctor suddenly will not, will, maybe they may give you a headache tablet, but we'll try to understand, is it because of constipation? Is it because of your poor vision? Is it because of you not getting hydrated properly? Is it because your exposure to the sun? What exactly is it? That is something that has to be found. Or there is no one medicine that fits everyone. The tablet that you take for headache may not clear the causes of it. It may just clear the symptom. So the same way, when you work with a coach, you have to understand why that fear is. That clarity, why the fear is there, will give you a solution of how is that you can use this fear as a fuel. When you get more clarity into it, it can be used as a fuel.
Wonderful, Karthik. I think I'm getting a lot of insights which are needed for us to look at. I am taking two questions which are a single question which I will club it to see because we are running on top of the hour. And
Mhm.
what is the next mindset science plus NLP integration? And could neural interfaces replace coaching by 2030?
As you say, neural interferences, by that, are you meaning to say about the AI and about the computer technologies?
Yeah, kind of technology plus strategy pillars, brain, computers, or ethics, something like that. So,
That
how
eventually
do
will,
you?
as I already told, that eventually will. What is the next
Mhm.
technology behind it? I see the classic NLP itself is a wonderful. In NLP itself, there are a lot of things that came up: new code, classic code, and new
Mm.
neurosemantics that Michael Hall, one of the forerunners in the NLP world, had done, and a lot of small works that some other people have done. Wholeness is something I think was done by one group of people, Conori Andreas. So she's a wife of Steve Andreas, one of my favorite persons in the NLP world. So all of
Mm.
these are there, but still the basic NLP that is there, that is more than enough. And I believe, because I always say that I don't believe NLP works. I know it works. There are two
Mm.
different things: you believing in something and you knowing if something works or not. Because I have used a lot of things for myself and I've seen it work for a lot of my clients. So that itself is more than enough. There's always a craze of thinking about what next, and how do you move forward. Well, if you have implemented everything that you have learned in an NLP program, or with a working with one-on-one on a life coach, then you can think about that. As of now, from where I have seen the developments that has been in the NLP world, and NLP is an open forum now. A lot of people add their tools and techniques into it, so that itself is ever evolving. And let me be clear on this. I have gone through almost every single mind coaching tool available, logical mind coaching tool available, like, yeah, emotional intelligence, transaction analysis, inner child healing, REBT,
Mhm.
CBT, NLP, you name it, I've
Okay.
done it. I've also done a degree in psychology. Okay. Although I was a software engineer. So my passion towards it drove me into it. But I have
Mhm.
not seen a complete system like NLP anywhere else. So there are only two things that I use a lot of times in terms of my coaching life. So coaching is about moving a person from point A to point B, and NLP is about understanding how is that, what is that you can do inside that coaching to move the person more effectively. So in my coaching practices, I use hypnosis and NLP more than anything else. So it can be 90% of time when I do coaching, and if I have to use a tool, it will be from 90-95% of time. It will be either hypnotherapy based tools or NLP based tools. Mostly NLP, I would say, and then comes hypnosis, and then comes 5% is all the other tools put together. So this is more than enough, I would say. So if someone is interested in it, let them explore this, and still if they want to explore something more, that is well and good. So this has been my experience of my journey in the last decade and more. So you're welcome to explore it also.
With that, I think I am scrolling Karthik's LinkedIn link here down. Anybody who wants to look at learning on how NLP works and the work that Karthik is been doing. India's leading success strategist, psychologist, NLP coach, and hypnotherapist. So anything that you want to have, you can talk to Karthik. Karthik, I have few pointers which have come up as. This one, before we conclude our put our takeaway pointers here, I'll bring the pointers which I see on chat. So first chat is GS Kumar. Keep up the good work is what he said, and I think that's the point he said. Next is I have another person coming in saying, Salman Bhai, wow, sounds fantastic, great experience. And there's a LinkedIn user which I think is not his name, so great NLP mentor to
Thank
you,
you.
Karthik. Then I see another point which comes in as great insights on NLP is from Lakshmi. And the last pointer that we have is from Gauri, great prospective towards goals. And thank you, Gauri, for that. And with this, I think we are good. I'll summarize on the pointers that we, as a key takeaways that we can look at. Mindset is an architecture, not an attitude. I think that's what is a key takeaway. NLP turns language into leadership, which Karthik eventually stressed on two, three questions, which I think it is very important that NLP is again language, which we spoke about also. Secure your thoughts like you secure your data, right? Because that's more we spoke about malware and stuff there, and with that we are taking that. Emotional ROI is the new growth metric, is what we are talking about. And finally, strategy fails without psychology, is what I wanted to tell as a takeaway, Karthik. Any final pointers that you want to add, Karthik, before we close up the session?
Now, anyone who is interested in exploring about the mind, I would say that, because being a psychologist also, more than psychology, NLP is something that has helped me. Now, there are a lot of videos, there are a lot of books, there are a lot of courses online available. Uh, you can be a person who is looking into self-help, becoming a coach, trainer, counselor, therapist, whatsoever it is, then NLP can be helpful. Or you may be a person who is interested in helping yourself, understanding yourself. From my perspective, NLP is something that helps you individually as a person to grow. Because if you are having a lot of obstacles, you can work on yourself. It's an ultimate self-help tool that you can use to help yourself. So if you're someone who's looking for that, always I invite you into the world of NLP. Again, there are a lot of good trainers, a lot of coaches. Of course, we ourselves do it. So that is something that you can do. And all the best for a great life. Always make sure that your mindset is something that is helping you to go forward in life. The same as technology. Technology is something that can help you go forward in life. And if not, if you're not using it consciously, then it is something that will always help you or pull you back down. So use it carefully. That's the your mindset, or your mind is the biggest, most powerful gadget that is going to take you towards success or take you towards failure. All the best.
Thank you, Karthik. We have streamed to the audience. We have streamed this to LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. We hope you found this discussion valuable, and thank you for joining us. Our next podcast is scheduled on the 4th of November at 6:30. Looking forward to see you, and see you again. Good day. Bye, Karthik. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot.